audio jack in the front of my case that just like crackles in one ear. Like whatever muff has the cord attached, it just crackles, which is really annoying most of the time. So how we doing? How we doing? Let me know if the microphone is like too quiet or anything like that, by the way. This is the first time I've actually done a video, and of course it's a stream, with my new audio mixer, my Scarlett Focusrite. I'm literally still tinkering with it, so it could be too quiet, it could sound a bit off. Everyone on Discord says it's fine, so it should sound fine with the noise suppression, but just always let me know. Might turn the music down a little bit because that looks like it is very loud. There we go. Okay. So we got our little setup right here as usual. Of course, we are talking about our ban list predictions today. I haven't done one in a while, actually, now that I think about it. I think the last one I did was in, like, September. I completely missed last ban list. But we're here for this ban list, and as always, we have our banned, limited, semi-limited, etc., stuff like that. And we are going to go bit by bit. And remember that chatting is very encouraged for these types of streams because it helps us actually have a lot of discussion. And these are actually some of my favorite streams for that because we always get a lot of conversation. So, not sure if I want to wait a little bit longer. I might wait a little bit more for people to start coming in. Not too sure, because it makes it a little bit easier to start talking about stuff. Got myself some tea, but it's almost out, so I got myself some water as well. We actually have a decent amount of stuff. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 cards to talk about today. Which, I actually think that might be less than some other ban lists. Might be more, though. I don't know. We've only done a handful. Let me check my studio, actually. How many ban list predictions have we done? We've done 4 ban list prediction streams other than this one. Oh, wait, no, we did 3, but one of them had to be split up into 2 parts. I completely forgot because my stuff just completely crashed on me for some reason. Ooh, yeah, that made me angry. I completely forgot that happened, actually. That's wild. That was during one of the ones with tier. Tier was still completely legal, oh my god. But it looks like we have a decent amount of people coming in here. Be sure to say hi in chat if you want. But now that we have a decent amount, let's go ahead and hop right into this. So, of course, we are in, like, these fire-focused format. We have a lot of different fire decks going around, but mostly Snake Eyes variants, such as Pure Snake Eyes, Fire King Snake Eyes, stuff like that. And so we have a lot of cards to talk about for that deck. And the first one is Snake Eyes Ash. And I know some of the picture quality might not be the best. I tried to get it the best I could. But Snake Eye Ash is, of course, like the main starter in the whole Snake Eye strategy. It's their best normal summon, and also the thing they get off Bonfire and stuff. They don't already have something like it, which makes them very drawable, but draw otherwise doesn't really work too well. And interestingly enough, Ash can add itself, which means that this card is just insane for follow-up, because you're going to be summoning on your turn, you're going to be summoning on your opponent's turn and stuff. There's just a lot that's going to be done with this card. It enables a lot of shenanigans just from being a one-card starter. You can open a hand to like 4 hand traps or even 5 hand traps and then top deck the Ash, and if your opponent doesn't have anything, you can go for an OTK, you can set up a really strong end board. It's just ridiculous. And it's probably one of the big things that people are talking about when it comes to the ban list, being limiting Snake Eye Ash. And I think that is something we could end up seeing. They might semi-limit it, like, and be really weird like they did with Unicorn back when Castro was still around. Now Unicorn's back at 3, now that Arise Heart's banned, which is whatever. But I can definitely see Ash going to 1. I don't think I can see it getting banned, though, but as always, we are going to put a poll in the chat. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. So, when it comes to Snake Eye Ash, what are we feeling? Is it going to get banned? Or is it going to go to limited, semi-limited, or is it going to get not touched at all? I always like to do these little polls and make sure that everyone is engaged in having a good time. And remember, this isn't a wish list, this is a prediction list. And so we're going with what we think Konami could potentially do, or what we think they are going to do. Come on, y'all. We can't just have it stay at 0. Come on. How disappointing. Let me make sure I actually link it on Twitter too, by the way. If I can find it. It's weird. For some reason it doesn't like me having the link. There we go. There we go. Okay. Beautiful. But come on, you can't just not vote. That takes away, like, the whole fun. There we go. We got one person. Let's go. Yeah, I remember, like, the first couple Banlist streams, we were at, like, anywhere from 12 to 20 people. It was getting kind of crazy in the chat. Oh, that makes me remember, I actually completely forgot. There's a card on here we always have to talk about every single list. Ah, man. But it looks like this is going to be the only voter out of, it looks like, the 4 viewers. So, oop, pressed the wrong thing. Let's go ahead and just put Ash in the limited section here. Go back to our ban list template. Yeah. There we go. Not in the ban section. We are putting it in the limited section. There we go. Beautiful. So that is Ash out of the way. That is like the main thing I did want to talk about. I think it is like the most realistic thing that they could hit for Snake Eye. I don't think they want to hit anything that's too new, like Poplar, Princess, anything like that. And I don't think they want to significantly cripple the deck just yet. Even though it is a tier 0 threat, I feel like hitting the consistency is something that Konami would do. So next, let's go ahead and talk about something else with the Snake Eye strategy. This is Flamber's Dragon. So Flamber's Dragon is a very powerful boss monster. Funnily enough, not because it's like got it's insane removal or anything like that. I mean, it's got pretty decent removal, but it doesn't have like super insane board breaking or anything like that. It's not gonna punch for massive damage. But because of its utility is the big thing. It's typically not actually placing opponents' monsters in the scale like all the time. I mean, it does it sometimes in the case of like things like Mirror Jade. You want to out it without popping it or anything. But it's using it to set up cards like IP, Masquerena, and other nasty things to put in the back row so that you can summon it on the opponent's turn and then get free disruptions off of that. Not to mention, one of the strongest aspects of Flamber's Dragon is, of course, its floating. Being able to summon 2 level 1 fires is insane from your graveyard, non-targeting as well, which is really, really good. And it gets you so much follow-up because you can turn the Flamberge into like 4 bodies on your opponent's turn. You summon Ash, you summon Oak, Ash grabs Poplar, Oak summons something else, Poplar adds a card. You're getting 4 bodies. You're just getting so much value off of just the Flamberge Dragon. And I feel like this is definitely one of the other cards that Konami could hit. We are seeing Flamberge run at anywhere from 1 to 2 copies, 1 in the Fire King variants and 2 in the Pure variants. So I'm thinking a Flamberge limit might also be like kind of a thing they can do. And funnily enough, while the Fire King variant is stronger, and I believe it still has more tops, I'm not too sure, it's definitely a lot more susceptible to certain hand traps like Droll. It also has to play a few more like soft garnets and stuff. So I can definitely see them limiting Flamberge in order to like kind of push people more towards the Pure variant, even though it is starting to get more popular anyway. Seeing people ban it, or not ban it, limit it so they can push people to the Fire King variant. Sorry, that's what I was trying to say. Because a lot of people are going to the Pure variant. So, let's go ahead and put this in the chat here. I'm going to put Flamberge. Do we think it's going to be banned? Is it going to go to 1? Or is it going to go to 2 for some reason or be unchanged? And while y'all do that, I'm going to go ahead and check on something real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, just had to listen in for something. Alright, so we got a few votes in now. It seems like we are currently at 50-50 We have half the voters saying that it should go to 1, or half the voters thinking that it's going to stay at 3, interestingly enough. We still have 5 other people in the stream that have the option to vote, so feel free to break the tie. Whoever does it, I'll probably end up ending the poll the moment the tie is broken. Oh, alright, it looks like people are saying Flamberge is also going to go to 1. So this is going to be on top of the Snake Eye Ash limit here. And as always, by the way, in case you come into the stream a little bit late, or like just want to see it at the end, maybe you don't have enough time to watch the full stream or anything like that, I will always be posting this full list of what we decided on for the ban list predictions on my Twitter, at AuroraYGO, like I always do. So be sure to check that out. Again, if you don't have enough time for the full stream or anything like that, and you just want to see the very end. But our first 2 hits, it looks like we are already limiting Ash and Flamberge Dragon. Again, I feel like both of these hits would push people like significantly more towards the Fire King variant without like actually hitting the Fire King variant, which is going to make the next discussion a bit more interesting. Next, we have Original Sinful Spoils. So if they were to hit Snake Eyes and make it immediately not a tier 0 threat, I feel like Original Sinful Spoils getting banned would be the best thing they could do. However, I feel like for a few reasons they're not going to do that. The biggest one, of course, being for lore reasons. It's like, you know, they don't want to ban the main thing, kind of intertwining Diabellstar with Snake Eye and like all the lore and everything, just because of the lore being a thing. And especially also helps sell other product as well. So I feel like that's definitely a big thing, but also, if we're already limiting Flamberge and Ash, I don't feel like there's as much of a reason to hit these Original Sinful Spoils. I feel like at that point, it's just insane overkill that would completely kill the Snake Eye strategy, as well as remove any splash ability, though I will admit this card is kind of insane. It just gives you so much value, both on board immediately and for follow-up, and you can just get rid of dead cards on your field anyway to use its effect. It's like how Ancient Warriors double Dragon Lords. A lot of people just use that if they're playing Tri-Brigade. You just hit your tanky that you don't care about. So, again, I don't think any hit would be coming if we already limited the Ash or the Flamberge. But, as always, I will put it in the chat here. So, is it going to get banned? Is it going to go to 1? Or 2, 3, whoever cares. I don't know why I put 2 on a lot of these things. Other than, like, Ash and stuff like that, I don't feel like anything gets semi-limited as much. Oh, fuck y'all. There's no shots. There's actually no way. I start talking about how things just don't really get semi-limited and people just start voting for 2. Dog, why would they semi-limit it? This card is played at 1 and sometimes 2. That would just be so weird. But it seems like a Konami thing to do. Give it another few seconds, see if anyone else wants to go ahead and throw their hat into the ring for votes. But otherwise, it looks like everyone is keeping it just as it is. Which, honestly, if we're already hitting Ash and Flamberge, I feel like that's more than fair. Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's going to stay like this. So, it looks like we are not hitting Original Sinful Spoils. So the next card I want to talk about, again, there's just a few more things I want to talk about for Snake Eye. Again, a lot of these might not be super applicable after we've already decided that Ash and Flamberge going to 1, but we do have just a few more things I do want to talk about, namely being Diabellstar. So Diabellstar, funnily enough, in like Rescue Ace, for example, was played at like 1, maybe 2 copies per deck. But when it comes to like the pure Snake Eyes variants, and I believe even Fire King as well, don't quote me on that though, are playing up to 3 copies of it just because it is a really good starter slash extender. Because I mean, on her own, she's full combo, or she's really good at extending your combos through hand traps, especially in such a hand trap heavy format. But I think Diabellstar going to 1 is a possibility, maybe even 2, which it would be kind of odd, but again, Konami moment, that does sound like something they would do. And where we are going for predictions, not wish list stuff. And I feel like after we've already hit that stuff, again, I think Diabellstar herself is fine at 3, but I could easily see it going to 1 if they really want to curve it, or again, maybe even 2. Diabellstar's played at 3 now in Rescue Ace since... Yeah, okay, honestly, that makes a lot of sense. That definitely makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of people didn't even play Rhoda because Airlifter was at 3, but now they're playing Rhoda because Airlifter went to 1. I keep forgetting that happened. I forgot Airlifter went to 1, Sharvara went to 1. I mean, those hits were just like, they're so forgettable, honestly, because they're mostly just consistency hits. But I think that Diabellstar going to 2 or 1 is a possibility. I don't think they'll do it yet because they're still doing the lore stuff and she is the big tie-in. And we will talk about Wanted, of course, as well. But for now, let's go ahead and throw in Diabellstar in the poll. Also, shout out to everyone else who also spelled Diabellstar with an E after the bell part. Because I think that was actually her OCG name, but then they changed it to like just Diabellstar here. And I still spelt it with the E for so long. Ooh, we went up to double digits. What's going on, everybody? We got 11 viewers. Alright, it looks like the majority so far, just 2 votes, but majority says it's staying at 3. Again, I do feel like I agree. See one person saying 1. Oh, actually, we got half and half at 1 and 3 now. Going back up to 3, go with half and half now. It's kind of like bouncing back and forth. It's saying 6 votes, then 4 votes, then 6 votes. Alright, it looks like... I'm not saying hi to you because you're in chat. This guy. I was like, oh, someone's texting me. Oh my god. Now I gotta make sure I mute my phone. Nah, Enzo, you're not late. We literally have only gone through, this is card number 4, I believe? Yeah, because we did Ash went to 1, Flamberge to 1, Original went untouched, and Diabellstar we're currently talking about. It looks like someone thinks it's going to be banned, interestingly enough. Consistency hit, but doesn't hurt. Yeah, I feel like that's a big thing, is that a lot of the hits they can really do to Snake Eyes are consistency hits. A lot of their endboard pieces are super generic, like IP and Apo and stuff, and I feel like Princess is still way too new to get hit, even though I can definitely see it going to like 1 bare minimum at some point. So I feel like just hitting consistency is the biggest thing you could do, but that is one of the biggest things that Snake Eyes has going for it. Alright, so it looks like overall we have over half the viewers voting, and it looks like people are thinking it's going to stay at 3, and again, I will honestly agree. Konami's Greed led to a place where it's super hard to hit it with the rarity changes. Yeah, I just really don't like the way Konami is working right now. I'm going to make a video about it probably, not like super intense like Skyhawk or anything, but I think I will be soon taking a slight break from Yu-Gi-Oh! It's just kind of ridiculous, all the bad decisions. They could ban Oak. I don't think they'll ban Oak. I can see an Oak limit, because some people are playing 2. But alright. After Diabellstar, next card is Wanted. I can actually see this card getting hit a lot more, like, as a chance than Diabellstar, because this is a really good card, of course. The fact that it adds from Graveyard, too, is just kind of ridiculous, and that I can also target banished stuff, it's just, ugh, my god. But I can definitely see this card getting hit a little bit more than I can see Diabellstar herself getting hit. Though, interestingly enough, they might not hit it just because this can search the Snake Eyes Diabellstar coming out in Legacy of Destruction. Ban, lol. But I'm not sure. I could see it going to 1, maybe 2, something like that. More so than Diabellstar, but I'm still not sure if they would hit that again because of lore stuff. They might hold off a little bit longer. Rhoda into draw, yeah, and it's a quick play, so you can use it in the draw phase too, so you can avoid draw. It's just kind of insane. It also recycles your resources. I don't know about engage, but better. You think 1? Alright, let's go ahead and put a poll in. Like, I don't know if I would say engage, but better, because, I mean, obviously Sky Striker now isn't, like, amazing. Isn't it also a secret? Yeah, it's a secret rare, so it's probably less likely to be hit. But yeah, Sky Striker Engage used to be, like, the most broken card in the fucking game. It's so crazy. We have decks like Sky Striker, right? They were getting, like, engage draws. Like, you get 3 engage resolutions in, like, 1 turn, getting, like, 2 of them being draws and stuff. And we had them doing a bunch of insane stuff, like setting 2 or 3 Widow Anchor plus Shark Cannon and all that. And they go through, like, 3 different hand traps as well back in the day. And now the deck just feels really bad. And then we also have decks like Virtual World, for example. Virtual World literally used to set up double Calamities and Chuchi, and now they can barely combo, period, with getting Emergency Teleport to 3, and only more support. It's so weird how these decks were ever, like, super crazy good. I did have a conversation about it, though, on Twitter. Like, a lot of the stuff was that, a lot of the hand traps at the time when Virtual World was kind of insane was, like, Imperm and stuff. So, like, it was the one deck that wasn't really hit by Imperm, so it kind of took advantage of that. Wow, we actually have a very mixed reaction to Wanted here. We have all 7 people have voted. We have 29% at 0, 14% at 1 and 2, but it looks like everyone thinks that it is going to stay at 3, which again, I do agree, especially because we already decided to hit Ash and Flamberge. So, we have 2 more cards left to talk about when it comes to the Snake Eyes Fire King strategy, and this one specifically is for Fire King. We have Fire King High Avatar Kirin. So this card is definitely a topic of discussion lately. I know a lot of people think that Kirin, being able to dodge things like Imperm and Veiler and stuff is kind of insane. To be fair, we are seeing Kirin, I think, going down to 2 copies now to fit more hand traps, but still, a lot of people want Kirin to be limited in some way because it is a very powerful card for dodging hand traps, as well as being able to just constantly recur things from your graveyard and get pops and stuff like that. And it's easily the best thing to pop off of Garunix. You can just set up multiple disruptions off of that, like the Arvada and everything, or get follow-up. Feels like a really, really strong card. I'm not sure if they'll hit it if we already hit the Ash and the Flamberge. Not to mention, this is still technically pretty new. I mean, the structure deck did come out at the beginning of December. Yeah, it's better Sharvara. I don't know, man. I feel like Sharvara is, like, really, really good. Especially in terms of, like, Xyz plays and everything. Leave those Fire King cards alone. Fire King by itself feels like a road deck. Yeah, but the problem is it's not by itself now, is it? Granted, I would prefer Fire King to go untouched. I feel like he does a lot for fire decks without being insane like Snake Eyes is. So I will ask in chat, of course. Let's go ahead and put Kirin. This is going to be the first of 2 Kirins we talk about on this list, which is funny. But I feel like we could see it go to 1 just to, like, be a really good hit for the Snake Eye strategy, but with her other Fire King rogue strategies as well. No one plays it as pure. I mean, some people do. But it's obviously, like, a super good engine is the big thing. And multiple Kirin is usually a big part of it. It's also kind of crazy because we literally see Kirin be, like, searched in decks. I've seen it be searched by, like, or not searched, but, like, you get rid of it, you pop it off, like, the Garunix or something, summon back a card for Link Fodder, and then use Sunlight Wolf to add it back. It's kind of crazy. Like, I remember I tuned into a feature match at a YCS, and that's what they were doing. Yeah, the reason no one plays up here is because Snake Eyes exists. I mean, to be fair, Snake Eyes didn't exist. People probably be more playing, like, the Tri-Brigade variant. I fucking love Fire Brigade. That deck is so fun. Wow, we actually have the majority of people saying they think it's going to go to 1. Interesting. Alrighty then, it looks like we are putting Kirin to 1 as well. That's our 3rd limit on this list. And it's all just for Snake Eyes. There we go. Beautiful. Make sure I'm caught up with my picture-in-picture. Alright, we have one more thing to talk about when it comes to Snake Eyes, and it's not a Snake Eyes card, it's not a Fire King card, but it's World Sea Dragon Zealantis. Y'all, this card is kind of nuts. So it's really funny because I hyped this card up one night a little bit after Darkwing Blast release, and it was like $7, $6, $7 or something like that, and I was talking about it. I'm like, yo, this card's kind of insane. And then we actually had a ruling discussion where someone was like, how does this work with, like, Marincess or something? And so we pinged, I think it was Tombox. It might have been Tombox and Coder, but I think Tombox got back to us first, saying that, yeah, the Marincess lock does work like that. And I was like, holy shit, no way. And I think that was the first a lot of people heard about the Marincess lock. And then after that discussion, the card actually went up like a whole $1 because I was telling everybody to get it. And that was like the most proud I've ever felt as a Yu-Gi tuber because I successfully manipulated the secondary market. They can't hit it. Crystal Beast needs it. I've literally never seen Crystal Beast make this card. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, Zealantis, as you may know, it's seen play in Marincess, it's seen play in, like, Draco Slayer to abuse their non-once per turn effects, or soft ones per turn effects, I should say. But it's mostly being seen in Snake Eyes right now to make an absolutely nutty OTK. Off of just one card, they can use Zealantis with Promethean Princess and Salamangrate Raging Phoenix, popping 3 cards, 2 of which being any cards and 1 being a monster, And as well as still having follow-up, by the way. They still have 4 cards in hand and everything. And they'll have the Princess live. And then the Phoenix is like 5,800 attack and stuff. So that's like a total of 25 plus 27. That's 52 plus 58. That's like 11,000 damage or something like that off of just one card. And the Zealantis can just completely clear your board. It gets rid of a lot of your floating. For example, Despia Queritus and Alubra, the Jester of Despia, both rely on the Queritus being face up or the Fusion Monster being face up. And if they're face down and they get removed from the field, neither of them can trigger, which is just really, really frustrating. It can stop a lot of things, or like anything that might activate in the battle phase or might otherwise activate. And Zealantis dodges a lot of things, again, like Queritus, making everything 0. Zealantis will just reset everything anyway. I'm using these Queritus and branded examples because I'm playing branded at my regional, so it is very, very important. But I think that Zealantis has finally gotten to a point where it's just really, really strong, and it's not even for like insane combo plays, it's just because it's so good at triggering cards like Princess and stuff. And I feel like at some point, we would need Zealantis to be gone anyway, because it would eventually fuel some dumb combo, especially like an FTK, excuse me, sorry, or some like pseudo FTK like Super Heavy Samurai. So I feel like we could easily see Zealantis get banned. It's been over, God, it was like 2022, so like a year, almost a year and a half since this card came out, and it has a tin reprint as well, so I can definitely see it getting banned. Even if they don't hit the other things we talk about for Snake Eyes, I can definitely see Zealantis going, because it is one of the easiest things that they can probably hit. So let's go ahead and just put 0 or unchanged. It looks like a lot of people are saying banned, though. We're going, again, remember by what we think Konami will do, not what we want, but just saying, personally, as someone that used to hype the fuck out of Zealantis, this card has got to go. It is easily the most frustrating part about facing Snake Eyes, because even if you have so many disruptions, if they can play through it, they can make the Zealantis OTK, which is just insane. And funnily enough, wow, 9 votes in already out of 11 viewers. We have 44% saying 0 and 56% saying unchanged. So funnily enough, if we get 2 more people voting for 0, that can change the scale. We just need to see if the last 2 people will end up voting. I'll give it a few more seconds. Alright. People voting with passion, not reason. I feel like Konami's not going to fix the format. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of like a hit or miss thing. Sometimes Konami does an amazing list, sometimes they do like a horrible list. But it looks like overall, we think that Zealantis is going to remain untouched, unfortunately. But that is it for talking about Snake Eyes hits, at least direct Snake Eyes hits. And so it looks like we are eliminating Snake Eye, Ash, Flamberge, and Kieran. Konami may just play Pin the Tail on the Donkey with his ban list, blindfolded and pick something. I mean, isn't that just half the ban list? But yeah, I feel like these are all fairly decent hits. I feel like they wouldn't exactly kill Snake Eyes as a deck, but they would definitely be significant enough hits for it to not be a tier 0 deck anymore. Though I definitely feel like it'll make both Yubel and Voiceless probably the best decks going out of Legacy of Destruction. Last ban list was pretty good. Yeah, it was fine overall. It was definitely fine. Alright, sorry, I was just looking at Discord for a second there. But now, moving on to another thing that's been a topic of discussion. Albion. So Albion has always kind of been controversial because everyone was like, oh yeah, cool, they banned branded expulsion, so now we're not going to get locked by things like the Gimmick Puppet or like Ito or things like that. But now, shit, what was I thinking? Yeah, now we have Expulsion 2. Sorry, I just completely blanked out there. We have Expulsion on legs. Can't be super polyed, which I completely forgot until last week when I tried to super poly, and I was like, oh wait, I'm playing fucking branded, how do I not know this? And it can't be targeted. So, that's fun. So yeah, Albion also can be looped over and over compared to Expulsion. Super easy to summon. But shockingly enough, a lot of people were saying, oh no, just ban the Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. You can also ban Ito and stuff like that. Just ban the Floodgates, or like the most popular ones, at least, and the other ones won't be played, you know? Which I can kind of see to an extent. And to be fair, Albion overall isn't played much outside of the Floodgates, but I think Albion will be looked at under a much more critical lens again, due to voiceless voice. And that's because a lot of voiceless voice players, even if they're just siding it and smoke screening into it, are playing a branded package where it's literally just making the incandescent dragon and dumping the Jowgen, and then they can summon the Jowgen on the opponent's turn, which the Jowgen on its own isn't a big deal. I mean, if it was super powerful, you would just see branded players going branded fusion, dump Jowgen, Albaz, and then summon the Albion past turn. That's already a floodgate. But the problem is that voiceless can prevent it from being attacked. They can literally prevent it from being targeted, they can prevent it from being attacked, and you have to attack a 4,100 attack beat stick with a negate as well, which is kind of crazy. And again, this card can't be super polyed, which is a super popular card in the format. It can't be targeted by things like Imperm. You have to open either a Bystial or you have to open like Droplet. I feel like those are the main like actual outs to it. And even against branded, when there's summoning the Gimmick Puppet, you have to open one of those, or you have to open like double Bystial due to like the branded loss shenanigans. And then also there's Tri-Brigade Mercurier. You can't use things like DD Crow. It just feels really, really frustrating to play against. And I can easily see Albion finally getting the axe as opposed to something like the Gimmick Puppet Nightmare. Not to mention, we did just get the Gimmick Puppet support revealed that summoning Nightmare to your opponent's field isn't a big deal in that deck because, I mean, you're not going to summon it on the opponent's turn, and so you're not going to lock them, but it is really important for playing around Nibiru, so I can easily see them avoiding the Gimmick Puppet. But I want to see in the poll, do we think Albion is going to be banned, or do we think that they are going to keep beating around the bush? My god, there's so many things in chat I just didn't even notice. Oh, we got ban, Tenpai Dragon gonna be nuts, won't ban, needs to go, Banitor Nightmare, ban him, problem card, tends to avoid the problem card, more targets like Orthros, needs to go, won't think they ban it. Voiceless is playing it, need to go, Albion needs to go. I think, or I see Albion, or I see Konami hitting Branded Fusion before him. No, Branded's not that great. It's kind of like a tier 2-ish deck right now. So you guys make Mirror J with the Branded package Voiceless, honestly based. I actually really like seeing Branded packages in decks that don't have to use their extra deck. Or are already playing fusion stuff like Predaplant. Branded Predaplant was so fun. That deck genuinely fucked. That was back when DPE was like super hot though. Now we got 6 votes out of 10. It looks like the majority is saying 0. If we do decide to ban him, we won't talk about Puppet then, because I do also have Puppet coming up next as another thing. A few more seconds. I also use that as an excuse to take a sip of water. My throat's like really awkward. I've been feeling not sick, but definitely congested due to allergies and stuff due to the change in the weather. Limit Giant Grinder because of the FTK. The day that I see Gimmick Puppet Giant Grinder limited is just gonna... I don't even know. I'm gonna be speechless. And see, it's interesting because I've seen people say that, oh, if they ban Albion, we'll just sit around and wait for the next card that can summon these floodgates, but you understand, there's like, other than Branded Expulsion, which is another branded card, they really don't print cards like that. I mean, the only other time we've seen cards like Jowgen be summoned was off of like Spellbook of Judgment, which was banned for the longest time. Alright, so it looks like the majority are saying that Albion is going to be banned. I should honestly have a better scan of this. I should get the Wikipedia one, but it's not a big deal. Let's go ahead and put this up here. Let me make sure I make it the right size, too. There we go. Alright, first banned card on the list, we have Albion. Alrighty. Yeah, I'll probably replace this with the Wikipedia scan before I post it on Twitter. But yeah, if we are banning Albion, we will not have to talk about Gimmick Puppet. Yeah, the Puppet FTK is not okay. To be fair, it is very susceptible to hand traps, but I do feel like, yeah, it does seem kind of nutty. I actually haven't even seen the combo, by the way. I've been trying to lab it myself to see if I can figure it out, but I've just been completely stumped. I always get a little bit shy of game. But next card, I want to get into a little bit more generic things, and Anti-Spell is seeing a big resurgence again. We're not only seeing a bunch of anti-meta, like we've been seeing a lot of stun lately to combat like the fire stuff, but We've actually just seen Anti-Spell show up in a lot more side decks again, because it's just really strong against Snake Eyes. You have things like Wanted, they'll have to immediately chain to it, so you know that there's a Diabellstar you have to hit, and then they also have things like, of course, like the original Sinful Spoils that they have to set, and they won't be able to use it. They also have like the Divine Temple, Bonfire, things like that. And it's also just good against a lot of other decks. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's really good against Voiceless, not too sure. But I think Anti-Spell, it's just been kind of too good for too long, you know? We banned Imperial Order ages ago. It was banned, then it was limited, then it was banned again, because it's just absurdly strong. And Anti-Spell, while it isn't, like, as strong, right? It's still a really powerful card, and it's just going to completely shut down a lot of decks. Not to mention, I mean, I never thought I'd say this, but poor Pendulum players, bro. This card has been the bane of their existence. Even if they're just having a good time talking about playing Pendulum, everyone's like, Anti-Spell. Actually, I have my glasses over here. Let me go ahead and do it. Let me just, there we go. What if I activate Anti-Spell? I feel like your whole combo just gets shut off. Alright. Waste of time, I know, but I thought it'd be pretty funny. But yeah, by the way, I'm those people. I'll fuck with you if you're playing Pendulum. But yeah, Anti-Spell, I feel like, is really, really strong, and I feel like it might be time for it to go. But I feel like Konami might not straight up ban it. As we've seen them just completely limit Tick Boo, Rivalry, and Gozen, which are good hits, don't get me wrong. I feel like those are very good because it makes the cards a lot less viable, a lot less susceptible to seeing play. But at the same time, it's like kind of weird because then it makes a lot of side decks or a lot of anti-meta decks just become insanely sacky. Just like with Imperial Order or like Skill Drain back when Skill Drain was limited, which I still kind of wish it was limited. So it looks like we have a few votes in. It looks like people are saying that it is going to go to 1. Again, I can kind of agree. Seems like something Konami would do. We have at least one person saying that it's going to stay at 3. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit more time, of course, though. Again, let me know how the microphone sounds, by the way. Because I know I'm using a noise suppressor from OBS, but I am running it through the new mixer, so I want to make sure it sounds good. Alright, looks like we're still kind of sitting at 4 votes, but I'll take those 4 votes as a word for it. So it looks like we are limiting Anti-Spell here. Again, I feel like that's fine. It feels like something Konami would definitely do, especially because Imperial Order was also limited at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the limited section here as well. A lot of decks don't care. It's really just that non-engine spells are really good. Yeah, fair. We have things like Talents as well. But again, like I was saying with Snake Eyes, I mean, Original, Bonfire, Voiceless has a lot of spells they want to activate, like, you know, the Ritual Spell, Pre-Prep, stuff like that. I feel like there's actually a lot of things that do care about Anti-Spell. Runic if they don't open Destruction, stuff like that. I feel like it's just really, really good. I feel like it's even better than the non-engine spells. But we are definitely seeing a lot of cards like Talent see play. Let me go ahead and close this poll as well. But yeah, alright, so the next card in our limited section is Anti-Spell. Hopefully you don't have too many limited cards. I feel like you guys always go a little bit too gung-ho with the limits, but it feels like something. But, of course, I say that, and the next card we're talking about is another Floodgate. So some of them, it's always been kind of a really nasty card, but it's been a little bit more niche compared to the other Floodgates, like Rivalry, Gozen, stuff like that. But it's seeing a lot of play now in decks like Snake Eyes and against decks like Snake Eyes. The biggest reason we're seeing it for play like in Snake Eyes is because they'll do their combo, then they'll flip the summon limit on the opponent's turn, and then on their turn, they can send it off the Snake Eyes monsters to just, or off the Diabellstar or something like that, or Original, and then just not have to worry about it and then go for the OTK, which is really, really nasty. And it makes Summon Limit already such a strong card just even stronger in the Snake Eyes strategy, and I just feel like that's just not cool. And again, I feel like Summon Limit's always just been a very, very powerful Floodgate, arguably one of the strongest if your deck can afford to play it. Kind of just sees a 3 of staple slot in like any control deck side, things like Eldritch, Labyrinth to an extent and stuff. And so I feel like it might be the time for it to go, but again, Konami's Konami, they might limit it, they might ban it, we don't know. But let's go ahead and put the poll. Let me read chat afterwards too. 0, 1, 2, 3. So do you think some of them is going to get hit, or is it going to remain unchanged? I do wish Konami would ban floodgates, but it looks like Konami is more interested in limiting them than anything. Again, I feel like it's kind of fine, though, overall. Even with cards like Prosperity, they're, like, really hard to get if they're just at 1. Right now, I'm running Super Heavy Fire King, sometimes Fire Brigade. To be honest, the ban list looks like, this. I can't de-vex about it. Get that out. We gotta get out of here. Man, even if they're at 1, sometimes the opponent still draws them every time, I swear. Oh my god, like, I had an Eldritch player that, like, 2 games in a row just got every one of Floodgate. It was like, oh my god. Alright, looks like the majority so far with 3 votes is saying 1. Come on, y'all, don't be shy. It doesn't say your name if you vote or anything like that. Even if you're just lurking. And while I wait for that, I'm going to go on Twitter. Ooh, it's almost 10 o'clock. Be kind of cool if something dropped tonight in the middle of stream. Alright, it looks like we're just sticking with 3 voters here. Oh, we got 4 voters here. So it looks like we believe Summon Limit will also see a Summon Limit. Sorry, that was bad. But let's go ahead and put that here in the limited section. Boom. Alrighty, we have another one of Floodgate here. So, after Summon Limit, we have another card that I think this has popped up in, like, literally every single ban list prediction stream that we've done. So, like, all 3 of the old ones as well as this new one. Discuss. Just feel free to discuss. I won't say a word. Remember, predictions, not a wish list. In fact, I'm actually going to put the poll up now. Shifter's a girl, by the way. So she lives. Alright, and I'll be right back. I gotta use the bathroom. I love that I come back and Damien says he lives, and then suddenly says, damn, she do be kind of bad. Oh, man. You still trust Konami with card designs? No, I never have. Oh, wow, it's currently at a 50-50 with 4 votes. Alright. It looks like one more person has spoken, 5 votes out of 6 viewers, and we have 60% saying that Shifter will stay. Unfortunate, but I kind of agree. I still feel like Konami just won't hit Shifter for a very, very long time, and if they do, they'll make it like a Saki one-of or something. But let's go ahead and go to the next one. So this one's a personal favorite of mine. I actually really love Mermail, if you couldn't tell from all my insane ramblings on Twitter. And Title would be so good to have, because not for the dump or anything like that. We don't care about the Foolish Burial, the generic Foolish. Fuck that. We just care about opening Stream Dragon Ruler of Droplets and pitching Dragoon with it, and getting the potential level 7 body from Graveyard. Like, that's about it. But interestingly enough, we got Redox back last list. Nothing that came out really works with it. Like, usually they release the Dragon Rulers like Blaster and Tempest when they release things that work with it. Redox they just released for no reason, and no one has said a word about it. In fact, until yesterday, I fucking forgot Redox came back. I was like, wait a minute, we got Redox, didn't we? And so, I can see Title coming back next list. Like, I really can. And that would be awesome, honestly. And it's definitely a possibility, because if they brought back Redox and literally nobody is playing Redox, which was arguably seen as the strongest one, what deck is gonna play Title and be super insane? And before any of you say tier, I will literally ban you, I swear to God. But let's go ahead and put it in here. Do we think it's going to remain at 0? Do we see it coming to 1? Or do you think they're gonna jump the gun and put all the rulers at 3 or something like that? Good that cards will be banned or limited, but they make more OP links and etc. and limit worthy cards with dragons and etc. Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I have no clue what you just said there. Unless you're talking about power creep. If you're talking about power creep, I think that's cool. It's just so crazy. Like, the Dragon Rulers were seen as arguably the strongest, most combo-heavy cards of all time when they were released back in, like, what was it, 2013? There was, like, no other cards that had, like, 3 different really strong effects. And granted, this is 3 effects that are a 1 effect per turn, which is really funny. And, it also bounces itself if it was special summon, which is weird. But, like, there was nothing like these at the time. But now we're in an age where we look at the Dragon Rulers and we're like, oh, these are kind of just alright. Because we just have so many things that are just straight up better. Alright, it looks like the votes are staying at 3, and we think Title is going to 1. Sorry. The sparkling waters make me burp a lot. And I wholeheartedly agree. For one, I personally welcome our newfound Mermail rulers. Now, Mermail will still suck after this, but it'll definitely make it a lot better. But alright, that is the next card out of the limited section. Moving on, we have another card here. We have Magispector Unicorn Kieran, and I'm basically done with cards being hit, by the way. We're mostly just going stuff coming back. And so Kieran is an interesting card because this was a really, really powerful card for Pendulum back in, like, God, what was it, like 2016? 2017 maybe was this card banned or something? Literally just a quick effect double bounce. You would bounce like itself or something else and your opponent's monster targeting. And like the biggest thing about Kieran was that it can't be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects. But that was before an era where we had Droplet, we had Dark Ruler, we had all these other different non-targeting, non-destruction removal cards. And also that was back when Pendulum was just absolutely ridiculously absurd, when now it's probably the worst summoning mechanic in the game. And interestingly enough, we got the Magispector support out of Phantom Nightmare, and they didn't bring back Kieran on either of the last 2 ban lists, which was weird. I honestly thought they would have brought it back at least in the last ban list right before Phantom Nightmare in order to promote the Magispector stuff. And that's another reason why I wanted to talk about it in this one, because if Magispector is doing nothing now, what do we think it's going to do with just a Kieran? You know, and I highly doubt they'd put it straight to 3. They'd probably limit it or something first. Bring back my son. Konami will never learn mistakes. We'll get more OP links and fusions and stickers and more. Oh, yeah, of course. But yeah, so I feel like Kieran 2. So do we think Kieran's going to come back I can see it coming back, but I'm not sure because, I mean, if they neglected it in the last 2 ban lists, are they really going to bring it back in this one? I'd like to see it back. I feel like it'd still be one of the weaker disruptions that Pendulum could play if they played it at all. I mean, to be fair, Bunbuku was already seeing play, but, like, I don't know. I just feel like Kieran is a bit too clunky now. I mean, not necessarily clunky or anything, but it's just not enough, you know? We have Pendulum able to shit out, like, multi-Omni-Negate boards, and we think that a targeting monster bounce is going to be super crazy. I don't know. It doesn't even have a Pendulum effect. Like, if it had a cool Pendulum effect, I could see it being stronger, but it literally doesn't have a Pendulum effect. Alright, we got 2 votes so far. Sorry, I look really awkward. I'm kind of adjusting myself in my chair, and my leg almost gave out. I was sitting on my knees. Ugh. 3 votes. Everyone's saying it's going to 1. Thank God, this is probably the last card that's probably going to be able to be limited. I'm actually shocked how fast we're getting through this. We actually, after this card, we only have 3 left. It hasn't even been an hour. I'm genuinely shocked. We got through this that fast? That's crazy. Also, have y'all been getting ads, by the way? I have it set to, like, aggressive advertising, I'm not gonna lie, because I like money. But I'm not used to, like, the automatic advertising. I usually just pop an ad in when I, like, go to the bathroom or let my dogs out or something. I can still insert ads, huh? I didn't realize they moved the button. Yeah, I have it set to aggressive ads, but it hasn't warned me that ads been able to pop up. Alright, it looks like we got 4 votes. Ads going Bert, really? That's crazy. I literally had no idea, because it usually tells me, like, ads coming in, like, 30 seconds or something, so you can prepare and make sure you're not saying anything super important. I bet most of you use ad blockers, though. Tisk tisk, how dare you do the same thing I do. We got 1 person saying it'll come to 3. Interesting. Give it a few more seconds. Take a sip of my water. Alright, it looks like we're staying at a lot of people saying it's going to go to 1. Oh, thank you, Damien. Big smooches. But alright, let's go ahead and put the second Kieran in the limited section for this video. Oh my god, I actually have so many cards in limited, I have to shrink it down first and then align it. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, probably the last card in the limited section, thank god. Let me actually shrink it a little bit more. There we go. But moving on, so now we're just going to go to cards that are like semi-limited and can probably come to 3. So we have Pankratops. Pankratops just came back to 2 on the last list, which I found really interesting. I actually really like Pankratops. Also, I completely forgot. Let me go ahead and end that poll. I personally really like Pankratops. Even, yeah, I am a Dino player, to be fair. Or I was a Dino player at some point, so I am a little bit biased. But I feel like Pankratops is a very cool, very fun, and very fair card, honestly, when it comes to going second cards. It's always been up there as, like, a really strong side deck card for the most part, or for like blind second decks and stuff, because it's kind of like Fenrir, which is funny because everyone said Fenrir was like Pankratops. It's kind of like Fenrir, but like for decks that don't care about the search, which is interesting, and don't care about like it being a trigger effect. And Pankratops can hit face down cards as well. It's really cool. It's a quick effect whenever you want to. So it has a lot more application than Fenrir in those regards, but Fenrir, of course, getting the extra copy of itself for a follow-up or for a discard or something like that is also really cool, and it doesn't tribute itself, so you can use it multiple times. They have their own like different unique things, and so we've seen Fenrir basically kind of replace Pankratops after it came out. But with Pankratops going to 2, I can easily see it going to 3, and we might see Pankratops in more side decks again. This used to be a mandatory 3 of side deck staple in like basically every deck, especially because it was a common. The fact that this was a common out of Soul Fusion, everyone was like, no way, that's so insane, this card's so broken, how'd they make it a common? But it was really, really cool, especially for a budget player like me at the time, because I was still so young. I was still in high school, like early freshman year high school when this card came out. So I hope all you feel old now. But I think Pankratops coming to 2 last list is an easy sign for it coming to 3. So do we think it's going to stay at 2, or do you think that it is going to stay at, is it going to go to 3? Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. I went on Facebook, and I dragged an ad thing, and now it's fucking up my computer. Oh, fuck. I can't click on anything. There we go. Holy shit. I literally couldn't click on anything. I dragged an ad, and then, like, it froze everything up. Alright, it looks like we're actually at 50-50. Interesting, but we're only at 4 votes. Come on, y'all. We got 13 viewers and only 4 votes. Disappointing. It'll only take one more to break the tiebreaker, though. Yes, I use Facebook in 2024, specifically for my locals group. My local community where I live, we have a Yu-Gi-Oh group on there. It's really, really good. Damien knows what I'm talking about. Wow. We broke the tiebreaker and then immediately tied again. That's hilarious. Alright, one more vote. I'll wait for one more vote to come in and that'll decide it. Yeah, it's definitely going to 3. The real question is definitely when, but I feel like it could go to 3 next list. You've seen only a handful of people using Pankratops since it went semi-limited, and that was mostly at the start of the format, right before Phantom Nightmare. It was like right after the list when we were kind of in that like awkward in-between format, which was really fun, by the way. I played the fuck out of Goblin. By that I mean for like one tournament, because then Phantom Nightmare came, or no, Phantom Nightmare was already out, but like by then the other stuff was like starting to get good. What deck am I playing at locals? I've been playing Branded lately. Mainly just because I'm preparing for my regional, and that's, like, arguably the best deck that I can bring. But I do have Goblin, like, right here. Yeah, I really enjoy Goblin. So, if I do play at locals after my regional, when I'm on that, like, quote-unquote little break for, like, a month or something, I'll probably be playing Goblin to prepare for Legacy of Destruction when we get Pile Up. Alright, but it looks like the tiebreaker has been broken. We are saying that Pankratops is coming to 3. Is it Goblin Punk or Pure? It's the Punk variant. I have a deck profile and a combo tutorial on my channel. The combo tutorials I'm really proud of, because I came up with all of them on my own. Alright, let's go ahead and make sure these are the same size. A little too big. Beautiful. Alright, first card in the Unlimited. So next card we can talk about is Engage. So Engage went to 2, not last list, but I think the list before. Correct me if I'm wrong. Imagine if the pan list came out today. I mean, I don't know what time it is for you there, but it's currently 10 p.m. right now for me, so not so sure about that. But yeah, Engage came to 2 like a couple lists ago or something, and Sky Striker's not really been doing anything. I feel like even though the OCG is different, to be fair, they've been getting a lot of Sky Striker hype, especially with like the Sky Striker Rhoda and stuff, so that might like at least a little bit kind of touch towards Engage coming to 3 over here, just for like a little bit of hype and stuff. But I'm not too sure. Engage feels like a card that could come to 3 at this point. It used to be like the most broken card in the game. Then they banned it. And then, yeah, the Sky Striker completely fell off as a deck, really. And now it's just doing all right. But in this format, Sky Striker just does not feel great into like Snake Eyes and stuff. It didn't even feel great into Snake Eyes before the new support. Imagine how it feels with the new support. So again, not too much like hinting directly towards this card coming off. But what do y'all think? Is it going to stay at 2 or is it going to come to 3? So speaking of 10 o'clock, though, let me go ahead and check out the JP account. Ah, just promoting new merch. I was hoping they'd be dropping more stuff from Infinite Forbidden, but I guess they're like kind of spacing it out a little more. They're selling a Millennium Ring, though. That is a pretty cool looking Millennium Ring, I'm not gonna lie. Y'all, look at this shit. It's kind of crazy. 3, it's Power Crypt. The fact that a Rhoda plus Pot of Greed, essentially, or a Rhoda plus a draw that makes it a Pot of Greed is Power Crypt at this point says a lot about modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Alright. So we have 14 viewers and only 3 votes. Oh, God, I can't believe it. But it looks like the majority is saying that it's going to go to 3. 3 so I can play a bad deep draw pile. I can't even say like Royal Magical Library Turbo because you'll have a monster in the main monster zone. Remember when Sky Striker players played Toon Table of Contents in Toon World to put spells engrave? And like Metal Foes Fusion and stuff? While they're at it, Hornet Drones are 3. I thought that said Widow Anchor for a second. I'm like, Widow Anchor's still at 2, but no. Yeah, I don't know about Hornet Drones. Yeah, honestly, Hornet Drones are 3. I feel like that's not a super big problem. Not anymore, at least. Like, everyone and their grandma can pump out, like, 10 Link monsters with a sneeze. Alright, looks like we're not going to get any more votes for this part here, so I'm going to go ahead and take the 3 votes word for it. Engage is going to go to 3. Which is honestly whatever. If you would have asked me back in, like, 2018 if I think that Engage should ever come to 3, I'd be like, no, you should die in a fiery pit of fucking hell. I wasn't playing at the time. Yeah, it's kind of insane. Alright, we have one more card to talk about. And this one, as a Goblin player, we have Terror Top. So Terror Top did come to 2 on the last list, similar to Pankratops, and I'm interested to see if they'll put Terror Top to 3 this list. I'd be really excited if they did, because if they did that at the same time as giving us a Goblin Pile-Up, Goblin Biker Pile-Up, the new trap card, that'd be really cool for Goblin, because Terror Top is such a good card for Goblin. It's either full combo, or if you already have full combo, it makes Gimmick Puppet, not Gimmick Puppet, Gossip Shadow, I always mix them up, to stop Nib, or I guess technically Droll, but you'd already get Drolled, so I don't know. Yeah, 3 easy. Yeah, I can see this card going to 3. Don't you play Phantom Knight? But yeah, I feel like this card could definitely go to 3. So, what do we think about it? Honestly, is it going to stay at 2? Is it going to go to 3? Not too sure, but it would be really, really cool if it did. You need more Burning Abyss support? No. You're going to play your bad 2014 deck, and you're going to like it. Alright, looks like we already got a bunch of votes saying for 3. Yeah, like, I'm going to be so excited if this card comes to 3, and we also get Goblin Biker Pile-Up at the same time. Goblin's going to feel so fun. Let me look at my Goblin list, actually. At my thing, yeah, okay. I think I have my Goblin list on Patreon, and so I don't want to, like, open EDO and then it pop up and you'll see the Goblin list. Sacred Beast is getting support, is it? I just want to mill 3 as cost and get hit with a Bestial. Oh my god. Maybe my bad, a Ritual Beast? What about Ritual Beast getting support? Oh, yeah, okay. We need more Burning Abyss support. If Ritual Beast is getting support, why aren't they? Okay, yeah, no, I got it. I got you. That's because it's a dual terminal archetype, though. God, if I add a 3rd Terror Top to this Goblin list, I'm going to be sitting at 43 cards with only, like, 6 hand traps. I don't know, I love playing a lot of Engine, but, like, at the same time, it's like, eh. Alright, it looks like we're sitting at 5 votes here, and the majority seems, or it looks like all of them seem, that Terror Top is going to be going to 3. And with that, we are officially out of cards that I had written down and prepared for the video. So, this is the part where I ask y'all if you have any recommendations. Are there any particular cards that we should talk about that we haven't talked about already that you think could or should get hit? But remember, this is, as always, a prediction list, not a wish list. So we are going to be, like, talking about things that we think Konami will actually do, as opposed to what we want them to do, because, let's be real, Konami never listens to us. Funnily enough, we didn't semi-limit literally anything. I think it's the first time we've done that. And we've only banned 1 card, and we've put, let's see, 7 cards to 1, 2 of which being banned initially. So I'm going to sit back, I'm going to wait for a minute, and I'm going to see if y'all have anything else that you would like to talk about tonight. Man, I love Goblin. This deck's so fun. Wait, is there only one boom lock in here? I thought I put a second one in there. I guess I removed it. Fiber Charter 1? No. Yeah, I feel like Fiber Jar is like really fucking annoying. It's not that it's good, it just creates really annoying game states. And we already talked about the Dragon Ruler. Title's the only one that's still banned, by the way. I don't know if you heard this, but last ban list we got Redux back, so a lot of people forgot about that. And I don't think they're gonna bring back Trident. There's nothing necessarily like Konami likes to do things based on product. Either if something's getting support, they'll free stuff for it, or if they're like something that you can combine with it or whatever, they'll end up doing something like that. Don't you literally have a video where you go over your goblin list? I meant the newer one. I updated it. Because I never discussed the side deck or anything like that. I changed out some of the non-engine. I converted over to the Madam Spider list. As opposed to like the Deer Note combos, so the extra deck's slightly tweaked. Some of my slots hard because for consistency hits, but decks are so strong it really doesn't do much. Yeah, semi limits are really fucking weird. Like the only cards that really matter there are cards that matter in multiple copies, like Malicious and stuff. If you wanted to hit Fluffle, for example, you could hit like Toy Vendor to 2 because they go through 3. Maybe Big Welcome to 2. Lab's not doing anything though. Like, not only would Big Welcome be, like, a really frustrating hit for Lab, but it's like, I was talking about this on Twitter, I don't know who I was talking to, but Lab is a deck that everyone hypes up, including me. I hype it up, like, every single tier list every time we go into a new format, because I really like Lab. I think it's strong in a vacuum, but the deck completely fucking blows going second if you don't open specifically, like, stuff to play on your opponent's turn. And like wombo combo and they have like no hand traps or anything. Not to mention they're super susceptible to hand traps unless they have exactly rollback. And they end up bricking a lot because the deck, despite having a lot of Stratos related cards, is pretty inconsistent because even if you have furniture pieces, like, you know, if you get hand trapped, it doesn't matter. If that's the only thing you have, it doesn't matter. Like, Lab just isn't great. It sees play in the in-between formats like we saw right before Phantom Nightmare came out, and it tops maybe like the first couple of events, but then it ends up falling off as people play more and more different decks, like, you know, Unchained, Rescue Ace, stuff like that at the time. Like, Lab just ends up always falling off every format. It's like Invoked was back in the day, where Invoked was like topping every event for like every format, or not every event, but the first few events for every format, and then it would fall off. I don't think Lab Engine needs a hit. If anything, it's rollback. Yeah, even then, I mean, rollback isn't doing much either. Like, it's really annoying to face against. I'll grant you that. Like, it's really stupid if your opponent can rollback lock you. And there's a lot of decks that can shockingly do it because all you have to do is make Beatrice, really. But at the same time, it's like, rollback isn't, like, insanely powerful. Funnily enough, in Lab, it's, like, not even super amazing. It's just to play through Ash or Bell. Hot take, red reboot to 1. I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna hunt you down, I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna get you. Fuck that. You either have red reboot at 3 and frustrate any back row player ever and make them never want to play the game again, even the fair back row decks, or you're gonna put it to 1 and it's gonna be super sacky, so you just keep it banned. 1 red reboot was awful. It was like, if you saw it, and you won the game, otherwise it was like, well, fuck. I really like Lab, but it's so frustrating to play because really easy to hate against. Yeah, like Lab, like a lot of other control decks, just loses like really hard to a lot of blowouts. Evenly matched when that card's in the format. Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, stuff like that. I mean, even to an extent, like Super Poly is really nuts against it. Oh my god, every time I bring Lab to locals, everyone is playing Super Poly. It is so fucking annoying. And granted, I'm playing Branded now, and I'm playing Super Poly and shit because it's good. But it's like, oh my god, every time I start comboing off, I'm like, I'm doing it! I'm doing it! Like the fucking SpongeBob meme, and then you just end up getting hit with Super Poly, and like you lose your lovely, you lose your lady, and you're like, okay, whatever. Trap cards other than Floodgates are kind of bad. Red Reboot's unfair. Yeah. Reboot's like really fucking annoying. A lot of trap decks just suck going second, and so it's kind of like one of the big kind of counters to it. It's why a lot of FTK decks don't get hit completely. You know, like the Gemini FTK is still fucking legal. You can still do that. It's just a lot more difficult, and it's really susceptible to hand traps, but most importantly, you have to go first. Decks that you have to go first are usually fine because, like, you have to go first. Like, Dino Morphe is really powerful if it goes first and doesn't get hand trapped. Can we limit Harpy's Featherstorm and ban Calamity? Those are definitely things that I think need to go. Don't limit Harpy's Featherstorm, by the way. They're just going to use Trap Trick to set it, so it wouldn't matter, and stuff like that, and, like, Thrust. But, like, we should ban both of them for sure. The main thing is, like, are we gonna ban them? Like, is Konami going to do that? Is there really a reason for them to do that? Like, I can see Calamity getting banned now that it's been a little bit since, the structure deck, right, where it got reprinted, so, like, people won't really care too much. And Centurion is getting support, but we might not see that until the Centurion support actually comes out. So, I don't know. And then, like, Featherstorm, it's like, Flu is okay right now, but it's mostly because of Shifter, not as much because of Featherstorm. See the going second lab deck that won a regional? No, I have not. There was a going second lab deck? When? Going second Labyrinth. I'm not seeing anything. Actually, let me look up first place Labyrinth. Got some from a couple months ago. How about Meow Moo? I mean, I think Meow Moo can come back. But again, it's like another thing where it's like, we don't know if it'll come back. The thing is with these prediction videos, because we are predicting, not doing wish list things, it's like really hard for a lot of the curveball choices that Konami decides to do, like Ib. No one could have fucking predicted Ib because it's just a curveball choice. This past weekend, I think it topped. All right, I'll look and see if I can find something. We have 2 weeks ago, first place lab. We have one from a month ago that has Fenrir in the thumbnail. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that. Yeah, I would definitely like to see Meow Moo back. I think literally a single copy of Meow is perfectly fine. Honestly, that kind of makes me think I kind of want to pick up a Prank Kid score just in case. Actually, I really like Prank Kid. It's honestly one of the most fun decks that I've experienced, just sitting there and comboing with. I never got to, like, actually play it in its prime, though. Sorry for, like, going silent a lot, by the way. I'm, like, really bad at streaming, and I'm kind of sitting here, like, waiting for everyone else to start talking. Yeah, so we talked about Zealantis early on in the video, or in the stream. It was actually one of the first, or actually it was the last card we talked about for Snake Eyes, and just barely, it looked like everyone believes that it's going to stay unchanged, though personally, I would like to see it banned. Claiming to get banned, but in the future, because there's no point to do it right now. Yeah, like, once the Centurion support comes out, and it's even more consistent and easy to do it, especially through hand traps, I feel like then it'll get banned. Just thinking, because I thought it just got recently limited in Master Duel, so not a confirmed thing, just a thought. Portsmouth blind second. Oh yeah, Portsmouth was recently. Ah, there it is. Blind second Labyrinth deck profile from Josh Kelly from a week ago. Alright, yeah. I'll check that out, definitely. God, I love Zelda and Chill. It's just such vibes. That's why I use it in, like, all of my really long videos. I gotta download the trilogy, though, instead of just the original. Because that's the only one I have is the original, so I end up... Even some videos are still even too long for it. Alright, honestly, I think this might be it for things to talk about. Because, again, like, everyone else's suggestions, I thoroughly agree with a lot of them. Ban Calamity, ban Featherstorm, bring back Meow and stuff like that. But it's definitely things that, like, Konami would just throw as a kind of curveball. I want to say your Sleeper Sundays are one of my favorite series of all time. Thank you. I appreciate that. Also, my dog just, like, tried to burst into my room the moment I started talking. Hold on a sec. I have to keep a dumbbell in front of my door and, like, wedge it in between the door and my bookshelf so that it can't open fully. Because I don't have, like, an actual latch. Really looking forward to Fiend Link? I'm not. Oh my god, it's gonna be so annoying. Plays through multiple hand traps, the fusion lets you play through Nib and stuff like that, or set up another disruption. But the big thing is they can do all that and search Super Poly, or sit on Super Poly. It's insane. One list with Max C at 3? Ugh, no. My god. Be awful. Called by the 2? I don't see it happening. That'd be so annoying. Imagine we're in a hand trap format and they're like, yeah, we're not going to touch the best deck, but we're going to give you Called by the 2, guys. Make it even more annoying. Give it 3 months? Hell no. No Max C. That card just completely ruins Master Duel for me. Because people either scoop when you activate it, which makes it hard to get content for it, or you end up playing into it. And so it's just, you kind of have to play around it or into it. You have to deck build with it instead of like an engine piece or a different hand trap. Really annoying. But anyways, now that I think about it, I think that might... Dog, can you please not? Oh my god. He doesn't hit and run too. He doesn't even like fully commit to coming into the room. He'll like try to open the door or open it halfway and then just leave. Did we talk about Fenrir already? No, we don't need Fenrir to get hit, honestly. Once Fiendsmith comes out, I don't think they play Super Poly and Fiend Link anymore. I don't know, maybe. Any thoughts about banning Shifter? Yeah, we talked about Shifter earlier, and we agreed that it's probably going to end up staying unchanged. Again, the big thing is this is a prediction list, not a wish list. Otherwise, there'd be so many more things on here. Especially coming back. I always love when they bring stuff back. But as I was saying, I think this might end up being it for the ban list prediction video. I almost said the tier list. Thank you all so much for coming out. It's been a blast as always. Wish there was a little bit more engagement in the polls though. Shame on you for not voting, all of you. Usually there's there's like a whole war in the polls and stuff and in the chat. I've seen so many like really bad arguments go down. But yeah, I feel like this is an alright list. If honestly, if I woke up and this was the ban list, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Be perfectly fine. I got distracted by chat for a second there. But yeah, again, thank you all so much for coming out. It's been super, super fun. I'm going to try to have more streams either later this month if I'm not working on Sleeper Sunday. Speaking of which, Sleeper Sunday's testing stream for Abyss Actor should be soon in the next few days. Probably on like Saturday night, maybe? Like Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, something like that. Maybe I'll do it then. Because I have to get the Sleeper Sunday up on Easter, which is going to be fun. Because I completely forgot to do like anything for it until now. But then after that, I want to do a Pokemon TCG live stream, maybe a couple of those next month when I'm going to lean a bit more into the Pokemon TCG. I got my regional, I'll have my deck list up for that, discussion, everything. I have a bunch of things that I want to get done, but for now, that's going to do it for the stream. Thank you all so much for coming out. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, of course, and turn on notifications if you want to see more stuff, especially streams. I want to try streaming again a lot more here in the future. Yada yada. Like the video, put it in the algorithm, give me money, smile. But with that out of the way, y'all, thank you all so much for coming out, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.